If you've ever wondered what DJs do when they perform, then this video is for you, because we're going to look at 3 completely different DJ setups, all of which work great. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've recently written the book Performing Electronic Music Live, and you're watching the tutorial video accompanying my chapter on DJing. You can of course also watch this video without reading my book, but if you want to learn how to put on a great show, connect with fans and express yourself as an electronic artist on stage, do check out my book, which I'll link down below in the description. So for this video I've invited a special guest, my talented friend Dan Murray, who's been involved in the electronic dance music scene for about 20 years now. Dan has released music on several record labels and he tours internationally, performing in iconic clubs as a DJ. His music's awesome, so do make sure to check him out. I'll put his links down below in the description as well. But without further ado, I'll pass over to Dan now.
Hi guys, hello and welcome to this DJ and performance tutorial. So my name is Dan Murray, I'm a DJ, a producer. I've released music on Incal and Meta, Picnic recordings, and I've been lucky enough to DJ in some iconic clubs both here in London, Ibiza, various locations around the world, and I've genuinely been involved in and around the electronic dance music scene now for nearly 20 years. So we're going to look at 3 main areas. The first being preparation, then we're going to look at DJ skills and techniques on different hardware, and then lastly we're going to look at performance styles and techniques. So before we get into the hands-on practical demonstrations, I'd like to talk a little bit about preparation. Now, whether you're just starting out learning how to DJ, whether you're slightly more advanced and you're DJing at friends' parties or out in clubs and bars already, one of the most important things to consider is learning your music and understanding where the drops are, what the arrangement of the piece of music is, what the build-ups do, how the breakdowns work. And the better you can get to know your music and understand your music, the better you can prepare for a DJ set, the better you can practice at home, and that will improve your fun and enjoyment if you're doing it, but also the experience as a whole, and how to use the arrangement of a piece of music to craft a set that takes people on a journey and moves the energy in different directions. So yeah, that would be my biggest point to sort of kick things off with, and to consider if when you're preparing and getting ready for a DJ set, get to know the music that's in your record box. Now that might be a box of records, vinyl, or it might be music that's in the Pioneer record box software, for example, where you condition the audio and do the beat grids and get everything ready, and you can craft and build a playlist, a track list in the software, bounce it down onto USBs, and then everything is in a nice playlist. In the Pioneer record box software, you can get all the keys together, you can map all the keys out, you can even configure the settings on the CDJs themselves. So when you put your USB in, all your settings go straight directly onto the USB platform itself to save you quite a bit of time. So yeah, that's a really big thing, is getting to know your music and preparing in advance. Track selection is quite a big topic. Obviously, maybe you've been in and around dance music, and you'll have heard the term selector, an excellent selector, that, because essentially that's what a DJ is doing. And there's 2 ways to look at being a DJ. One is obviously a very improvised style and feeding off the energy on the dance floor, and using that to guide and shape your track selections. And obviously the other end of the spectrum is having a very predefined track list and set list. Most experienced DJs will tend to DJ off the fly and let the energy tell them what direction to take the music in. If you've got a very specific sound that you want to DJ, or a very loop based, more improvised style with less song based, you might want to have a much more rehearsed type of performance. All things to consider. improvisation, in the world of DJing as it is today is quite a big thing. I touched on it just a moment ago, but mixing in key is something which is quite a powerful tool. The circle of fifths, getting as you move through transitions from one song to the other, mixing in key can make everything sound really nice and harmonic. And really add that kind of professional element to your performance. Other sort of peripheral things perhaps that to consider, obviously if you're a bedroom DJ this isn't as important, but once you perhaps start to DJ out and get a gig, you want to understand your audience, whether they sort of know who you are as a DJ or they have DJs that play similar type of music, so they're kind of educated already to your sound, or whether you need to prepare your music in such a way where people might not be as receptive, so you need to sort of make a slight adjustment. Small things, but something to consider. Also the type of dance floor, the size of dance floor, the size of the club or bar, actually quite important. One of the things which a lot of pros DJs do is, if you're DJing in a much smaller room or a smaller club, it might be worth considering playing music which has a similar sort of reverb times. And what I mean that is that if it's pre-recorded music perhaps that you've made or you've bought, music that's, if you're playing in a small room that has really long big room sounding reverbs, can sound a little bit strange in a small club, in a small room. Just something to consider. Playing something like that can really add energy to a performance when it really meshes in with the context of the venue. Other sort of peripheral things to maybe consider before you get to a club is equipment. Is there a sound engineer? Is the equipment already set up? What type of DJ equipment is there available for you to play on? Is it the platform there that you're used to playing on? How much room is there? Does the DJ booth have monitors set up so you can monitor the sound? All these things thinking ahead in terms of preparation are quite important to look at. So in this section we're going to be covering beat matching. In front of me here I have the iconic Technics 1210s turntables and an Allen Heath Xone 92 mixer. So in a second I'm going to walk you through and talk about each of the controls on the mixer and the turntables themselves, and then do a practical demonstration of beat matching. So beat matching, whether you are a complete beginner or a little bit more advanced, is something which you do need to practice. It's a skill that you need to obviously learn and onboard, and it can take quite a bit of time to perfect. But once you're a bit like riding a bike, once you can do it and it, it's in there, but you do have to keep practicing because you can get skill fade. In terms of the fundamental skill of beat matching, electronic music on the whole is made on a computer or made with outboard equipment, so it has a very stable time signature, which enables us to beat match and match the tempo of two pieces of music in order to play them simultaneously and create something brand new, something which has never been heard before. And that's where the magic happens really, is whether it be a more choppy and cutting style mix or really a 3 to 5 minute mix blending between two records, or the skill of having a third deck that plays a particular drum loop underneath the set. That's another skill. So there's lots of different ways to use synchronizing beats together to create the performance. For example, on this demonstration I'm going to use house music. House music has a 4/4 time signature, which means that we drop the beat, cue up a record, find the first beat and drop that first beat on the first beat on a new bar, on a new phrase on the track that's playing out of the speakers. And that is it in a nutshell. Once you get used to being very tactile with the equipment and getting used to using the equipment and finding and queuing up, whether it be using CDJs or whether you're using vinyl, as I'm going to demonstrate in a moment, being tactile and using the equipment and finding that first beat and dropping it in, that once you perfect that skill, you'll find that finding the tempo, provided you've dropped the first beat, on a new bar, on a new phrase, once you've perfected that skill, finding the beats and finding the tempo is the easiest part. So mixer controls, this is an Allen Heath Xone 92 mixer. It's a 4-channel mixer. It's got 2 auxiliary channels. Each channel strip has a channel fader, 4-band EQ and a trim control. The crossfader down the bottom here, you've got low pass, band pass and high pass filter here, resonance control, the monitor section with the headphone volume. You've got a post EQ, so you can dial in different EQs and hear what the EQ sound like in the headphones. A split EQ to split the signal between each headphone. And then these section here, you can then assign a filter to whichever channel strip you want, and the crossfader has the same controls here, so you can assign whichever channel strip to whichever side of the crossfader you'd like it to be on. Those are the basic controls of the mixer. Moving over to the controls on the turntables, so Technics 1210 turntables. Most important is the pitch fader on the right hand side here. Adjust the speed of the platter. You've got on and off control, the start stop, the tone arm, the stylus, the needle, skid control. Obviously the platter being the most important part of the this particular deck. It's got a big magnet inside, quartz locks, very stable. And as you get used to using these, become quite tactile with them, you'll do manual pitch adjust by delicately touching the platter, either to speed it up or slow it down, keep everything in sync, or alternatively you can ride the pitch to keep everything in sync, which is a slightly more advanced technique. So cue points, cueing your music, finding your cue points. Obviously it's where it all starts when it comes to beat matching, and finding your cue points. Not all music starts with a kick drum as the first sound of a piece of music. So it's important to listen to the audio in your headphones, find where your cue points are, and get used to counting along to the beats. It sounds like a simple thing, but counting and tapping along to the music that's playing out of the speakers, and at the same time shuffling the first beat once you've cued the music up, that first beat, and counting in time with the music, and then releasing. So this record has got 2 tracks on it, so just so that you can hear what I'm doing is what you would do in the headphones. I've put the channel fader up for the purpose of this demonstration, and then you can hear the first beat, the first kick drum of this track. So as you get more tactile, you'll get used to just shuffling and counting along to the beats of the track that's playing, and then releasing on the first beat of a new bar. So EQing and levels. So you probably noticed in the beat matching demonstration that I inputted a lot onto the EQ controls on the mixer throughout the mix. In order to get a nice smooth blend, it's important to use the EQ section so you don't get frequencies clashing or too much sub frequency, and just generally just using them and using your ears to create a nice smooth blend. And that's something over time you'll gain more experience and you'll get better and better. Very experienced DJs become almost synonymous with a certain EQing style, and some people would say that you could walk into a club without knowing who's DJing and they'll be able to identify the DJ based around how they're EQing their music. It is an art form. It is something to really pay quite a lot of attention to and really refine that as a skill. Levels is equally as important. The way the music is mastered, it can be perceived, have a certain perceived loudness, and one track might need to be boosted by 3 or 4 dB just to keep the levels the same, and that is a big part of mixing as well. So 2 really important points there, EQing and levels. I'd now like to touch on monitoring. So monitoring is an important topic. Whether you're DJing at home, in your bedroom, or whether you're DJing in a club, getting a nice balanced level between your headphones and your speakers is very important. Setting that balance accurately so that you can hear what's going on, you'll be able to mix more easily, more comfortable, and that will really aid you in being able to get the best out of your mixing. So this is the CDJ 2000 platform. It's very powerful, it's very stable, it's an industry standard. Most big clubs around the world have these installed. Q section and the play section down the bottom here. So Q button, you can count. You've got the track selection, so you can search through the tracks here, and then you can toggle through and scrub through each track as well. This is a slip reverse section, and this is a hot cue section as well, so you can mark different points of a track and then go back to that if you want to highlight a particular phrase. You can mark up to 4 hot cues, which is quite good. The loop function, you can do it manually, where you can count in time and then create a loop of your desired length, or there are beat grids and you can hold and press the beat loop beat section, and that will create a loop for you, and then you can manipulate the length of that loop as you wish. Pitch fader down here. The platter itself has got 2 modes. You can go on jog mode or vinyl mode, and it acts as the same way as a piece of vinyl, or on the side for pitch bend, and pitch bend effects, obviously to just move the track forward or backwards ever so slightly to keep it in sync. Those are, got a vinyl speed adjust for like a break and a release start as well. Those are the basic functions of the CDJ. What I'm going to go into now is do a demonstration of how to mix on this particular platform, and also use a couple of the key features like the hot cues and the loop section to see, so you guys can see how they're used live in the mix. So in this section we're going to look at a hybrid setup. So what we've got here is two CDJ 2000s, we've got an analog drum machine, we've got a MIDI controller down here, another MIDI controller, and the laptop which is running Ableton Live, which is our DAW. So the beauty of this setup is that you're integrating the best of both worlds and able to move from a traditional DJ format such as CDJs or vinyl over to playing a DAW like Ableton Live and integrating them both. If you're a DJ that plays on a laptop or you play in a hybrid way, semi-live, and you arrive at a gig and all the other DJs are playing vinyl or CDs, you need to be able to make a nice smooth transition from one format to the next. This setup is quite powerful. It gives you the best of both worlds, enables you to use all the effects which are inbuilt into Ableton, as well as the effects here, and it's a very stable setup. So I'm going to do a demonstration on a kind of more loop-based style performance in a kind of hybrid setup and a semi-live performance.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video about DJing. If you want to see more tutorials about how you can perform electronic music live, music production tutorials, or alternatively you want to see an alien play saxophone, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and press the bell so you can get notifications. Also let me know in the comments down below if you've ever performed as a DJ yourself and what your setup looked like, because I really want to know. But for now, I will see you in the next video, so thanks for watching and bye!